Volume's good. I just had to make sure before we got started. Let me close my door so that way the volume doesn't echo throughout the room. Real quick. Alright. Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here to bring you yet another iteration of what I like to call One Piece Reflections, where, at the end of every month, we go over the chapters of One Piece that we've encountered throughout the year. And, since we had to endure a break during the month of October, we only got 2 chapters, which means that this reflection should be a bit shorter than the previous ones, due to only getting 2 chapters, so it should be very... Look at me, having a solo leveling symbol up there like I'm unprofessional. That is so unprofessional. We only got 2 chapters this month, so let's go ahead and get started and go over them. Welcome everyone who is here. So let me just go ahead and pull up chapters 992 and 993. Those are the only 2 chapters that we got, with a brand new chapter 994 debuting tomorrow. Of course, you know the usual. I'll be doing my reaction to that once I get back home from church, which will be before 12. I know for a fact I'm going to be able to get back home before then, so that way I'll be able to do these the newest chapter as soon as it drops. But in chapters 992, we have like a full cover page here, and going through it, we have Pedal's Pedal and Marco speaking to Big Mom outside of Onigashima, because here, got that Pedal's Pedal, the alliance with Kaido was my idea. Pedal's Pedal, as we know, well, look at me sounding like a person of exposition from a bad movie where you have to say "as you know," even though we, the audience, already know things. But Pedal's Pedal already has his mind set on Big Mom being, you know, the big name to come out of this entire war for Wano. And Marco was traveling there with him in the hopes that maybe they could help take down Kaido, but that's not the plan. The alliance with Kaido was my idea, she says. I'm sure it was, Mama, but remember, we've all been dreaming of the day you become king of the pirates. Of course I know that. Why don't you kids trust me? Oh, well, that's a relief. This is chapter 992, called Remnants. Ah, I see. In that case, despite your invitation to work together, it would seem our mutual goal of vanquishing the ogre Kaido is no more. Because during the time that Marco and Pedal's Pedal were talking with one another when they were traveling, I guess Marco came up with the idea that if we team up, then we can take down Kaido and, you know, bump him off the list. And it still shows, Marco using his flames around him, so obviously he must have came, they must have literally just came and landed on the forefront of Onigashima for his flames to still be out like that, because, you know, he likes to go halfway when it comes to his transformations and only use, like, his legs and his arms to transform the majority of the time, unless he goes full Phoenix forms when he's really serious. But yeah, it was Marco's idea to team up with Big Mom and Pedals and the Charlotte family to take down Kaido, but that's not the idea, because Big Mom just confirms that, hey, the alliance was my idea. So Big Mom and Kaido working together, that pretty much puts Marco's plan into taking out Kaido out of commission. So, moving on from there, oh, Marco, I thought you were better than this, helping out these whippersnappers. So sad how Whitebeard's remnants have lost their way. You're sure you're not mistaken the meaning of the word remnants, Big Mom? Do you think that Pop's voice is still binding us to his will? Everyone who's left is free. That's right, dead men give no orders. Do as you will. And then we have Carrot and Wanda here, and seeing as how... And the thing is, Carrot and Wanda are in the vicinity of where Pedal's Pedal and Big Mom are. And Carrot remembers Pedal's Pedal because it was because of him that Pedro died. Well, it was because of Pedal's Pedal's antics that Pedro died. And Carrot says she's going to avenge Pedro. And then we have Luffy running through the entire area with Yamato chasing after Shinobu and Momonosuke. Then we have Black Maria, who's just chilling with her entourage someplace else. The banquet hall inside of the castle. And she's just playing on her, it's either biwa or shamisen. I want to say biwa. And she's telling a story about, of course, how about this one? On a snowy night, those who wish to be hunted but can never be together at last will meet. Beneath the light of the moon, their passions run high. And then, as this is going on, she's playing, and it shows Akazaya 9 going up against Kaido in one big massive panel. I mean, when this panel gets animated one day, it's going to look beautiful. And I feel like the music is really going to sell it as well. But Kaido roars, and he shows another ability in his dragon form. Beforehand, we always known Kaido to be able to do his Borobrese, which is essentially just a straight up fire blast that can flatten, implode, and nuke an entire area. But here, he displays another ability, which is the ability to shoot out lightning from his mouth. And it is destructive as well, as it literally breaks the ground that the 9 are running on. And he roars, and he's shooting out lightning, and then everyone is drawing their swords, preparing to attack Kaido. Nekomamushi manages to uppercut Kaido in the face. Then Kawamatsu manages to cut Kaido across the mouth a little bit. But Kawamatsu is knocked aside by Kaido into a nearby rock. Then it shows Inuarashi using K9 Scourge. Like beforehand, Nekomamushi was using Crimson Cat Dance, and that uppercutted Kaido. Then Kawamatsu uses River of Sea, which is a swirl of slashes that goes straight through Kaido's mouth, and it causes him to bleed out of the mouth. And that's his Kappa style, River of Sea. Then we have Inuarashi coming in with K9 Scourge, where he plunges his blade into the side of Kaido and infuses it with Electro. Then we have Kiku and Izo using Fallen Snow Scythes and Slicing Rounds, respectively. And then he says, "Enough nonsense. None of these attacks bear a resemblance to Odin's blades." Which is in retrospect saying that none of their attacks are reaching the level of strength that Odin had when he fought him all those many years ago. "None of these attacks bear a resemblance to Odin's blades. So why can they cut me?" And then he tries to use Bolo Brese. Then he tries to use Bolo Brese on him, and before that happens, "Hey, Static, you should wait until next Sunday." No, because I do it for all the chapters that release in a month. It's the end of the month, so we're doing it now. And then, so, One Piece will be on break. Well, that's nice. Blast Breath, and he tries to use Boro Brese on them. But Raizo comes in with his scrolling jutsu, and it absorbs the Bolo Breath. My scrolls can wrap around anything in existence. And then the scrolls start to wrap around Kaido. And now I return it to you, Blast Breath Restoration. And after sealing the Kaido's Blast Breath inside of the scroll itself, he then wraps it around Kaido, and then that breath is let back out, like a full counter. But it wraps around Kaido's body, and then it's shot into the reason I say you're going to spoil One Piece's break next week. Wait, what are you talking? The reason why I say this, you're going spoiled One Piece, have read spoils already. Please don't say any spoilers. I'm not interested in that. Unless you're talking about these chapters 992 and 993, I don't want to see anything. Doesn't matter if you read spoilers already. I'm not saying anything. Okay, thank you. So, Raizo uses his restoration scroll on him, and it shoots the blast breath back onto Kaido, and then it just shows like a massive explosion at the top of Onigashima. And of course, the Beast Pirates are all surprised. "What's happening? How can he take so much damage? Master Kaido!" Then Kaido gets back up again, and of course, Kinemon starts to think back to memories of when he was with Odin, way back when. such as, come on, I'll teach you. Like, he wants to teach the 9 his sword style, his 2-sword style. But they're not really paying attention to it. No thank you, we have our own styles of fighting, Kinemon says. But Odin 2-sword style is the greatest there is. Why won't they learn it? Because they would have fought a great big fight over who would be your foremost disciple. They love you so much they would have killed each other. What do you think you're doing? And then it shows, if One Piece is on break next week, what am I going to do? What do you mean, what am I going to do? If it's on break, then I just don't... Wait, what are you talking about, Static? I'll do the same thing I always do when One Piece is on break. I'll just either read My Hero Academia and do my usual One Piece episode reviews. Nothing's changed. It's if One Piece is on break next week, what am I going to do? You say this as if I haven't done something or not done anything. If there's no chapter on One Piece, I just don't read One Piece. It's that simple. But then we see Shutenmaru, Kinemon, Denjiro, and Inuarashi stand before Kaido because everyone else is not there at the moment, and they all stand with 2 swords in their hand. Odin 2-sword style. You waste your time with that cheap imitation. And then they remember back to when Odin was teaching them. Okay, first of all, here's the thing about Ryuo. Listen to me! And then it shows Kinemon, Shutenmaru, Denjiro, and Inuarashi all using the same move that Odin did many years ago, Paradise Totsuka, and cutting into the wound that Odin gave him all those years ago. And that is the end of chapter 992. Now, moving on to chapters 993, The Dream of Wano, and this is the last chapter that we got in October. See, I told you that this was going to be a short reflection. In the cover page, which is actually a very significant one, Lola finally gets married, and she ends up getting married to Gotti. And of course, all of the Fire Tank pirates and Capone and his family are all happy. Pound is happy that he actually gets to be father-in-law and, you know, being with his daughters, because he's the only father from Big Mom that was affiliated with Big Mom that actually has the chance to see their kids. So happy for him. Lola's finally getting married. Took forever, but still. And then it cuts to the Flower Capital, where everyone is celebrating. The people of Ebisu Town. There's not going to be any executions. Nothing's going to happen in the Flower Capital. Everyone is celebrating in the Flower Capital the Fire Festival. They get to drink alcohol. They get to chill, relax, and just party. No one will be executed today. It's the best day of the year. Orochi will be back, but for now, sing, dance, enjoy yourself, for today is the Fire Festival. Now, of course, the people of Ebisu Town aren't in the Flower Capital, but at least they get to enjoy some luxuries like clean water and stuff to drink. So that's happening. Then we cut to Onigashima, and we find out what was shot at the people all those chapters ago that Queen shot, and we find out that it's a new piece of ammunition that Queen has created called Playgrounds. Ice Oni. Because the people he's hit, not just beast pirates, but also the samurai as well, they've all started to change. They've gone berserk. Ice has formed over their body, and it's turned their upper torsos and like their neck area and their heads into that of, like, you know, Oni. Basically Japanese demons. It just made them go berserk, and now they're attacking everyone around them. Not just samurai attacking beast pirates, but samurai attacking samurai and beast pirates attacking beast pirates. Everyone is being affected by this, but mainly the samurai, because we see the beast pirates being. I mean, would make better sense if Riwi One Piece of Oda break instead of end of month. Do as you will. I don't want you want like, well, did this? I really need monthly review just now. One Piece. Oh, good lord. I mean, would make better sense if you read One Piece if Oda break instead at the end of the month. No, I've always done it this way. We always go over the chapters that we get within a month at the end of the month before the new month starts. This is the way I've always done it. I will always continue to do it. What's going on, CJ? So we find out that this is the shining jewel of Queen's playgrounds called Ice Oni, and we see the effects that it's having on people. Chopper's looking on astounded, Robin's looking on astounded, as samurai are going up against samurais, they go berserk. Then we get to the first basement level where Luffy and Sanji are making their way through the entire area, and multiple Beast Pirates are trying to fight them. Then we got Sanji using Party Table Kick a Course with the added effect of Diable Jamba. I didn't make note of this when I was doing my reaction initially, but it's nice that he's adding Diable Jamba to his regular attacks. So now they have the added effect of, setting people on fire. Because his attacks are already stronger due to the 2-year time skip he was spending training on Kamabaka Kingdom. But now when he adds Diable Jamba to even his regular attacks, because who knows how long he can keep that going. Maybe he can just activate it, he can just keep it going for as long as he wants. Instead of it, fizzling out when he's finished. He can just incorporate it into every single different attack he has, but now it has the added effect of setting people on fire alongside with, knocking them out. Also, CJ, we won't be long because this is the last chapter because we only got 2 chapters of One Piece in the month of October. Officially, not early scans that people tend to read. I mean, officially by Viz, put out on Sundays. We only got 2 chapters this month of October. So, if it still goes 3 chapters, then 1 break as planned, we will still have chapter 1000 this year, 2020. Well, we'll see how it goes in November, because we only got 2 chapters officially in October. Sanji's active whenever wants since post-time skip. That much I'm pretty much aware, but I'm just saying in general. I want to see what happens if he starts adding it to every one of his, attacks that he had before the time skip. Just seeing Diable Jamba being added to everything. Just him adding spice to everything that he does. As a cook would do. So he's using Party Table Kick a Course! And with Diable Jamba added on, and he's knocking people around and out. Then we see another headliner called Briscola, who uses a Gorilla Smile Fruit, which the gorilla comes out of his left hand. Like the entire upper torso of a whole gorilla is where his hand would be. And he just goes off and he starts monologuing. Oh, it's you guys. You're a couple of wise guys, huh? Where else would a gorilla come out of if I'm a gorilla fruit user? And he's just talking and talking, and he tries to punch both Luffy and Sanji, but they both dodge it. And Luffy really wants to fight, even though everyone keeps telling him that he needs to be saving his strength once he confronts Kaido. But of course, Luffy is hard-headed, and he's not listening to anybody, and he's just wants to fight. It's like he's taken on the spirit of Goku, and he wants to fight whoever he sees because they look strong, and he just wants to beat them up. But where do you expect a gorilla to come from? Because they're wondering, what exactly, why is because Sanji says, why is the gorilla growing out of his hand? Of all places, they've seen different animal smile fruit users that have animals coming out of their stomach, or people coming out of their mouths, like the bear fruit user from the anime. And they have other people where a person's upper torso is like on the back of either a turtle or a rhino. But the entire upper torso of a autonomous gorilla is coming out of where his left hand would be. And they're just finding weird, why is a gorilla coming out of your hand of all places? And then the guy says, oh, you're a couple of wise guys, where else would it come from? He tries to use Gorilla Punch, and then Luffy wants to fight him. Sanji says, you can't do that, you have to save your strength for Kaido. It'll take you too long to handle these guys alone, Luffy says. Shut up, 10 seconds too long for you. I'll do it in 3. And then as they're arguing on whether or not Luffy should fight these guys before he gets to Kaido, Jinbei just comes in and knocks him straight and just bodies Briscola straight into the roof with Gosen Maigara Seiken! Oops, I meant 2 chapters. It's all good, Kawahihana. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's chapter. And Jinbei just knocks him into the ceiling and puts him out of commission. And then Jinbei starts explaining that all the things that's going on, and Sanji's wondering, how do you know all this? I feel like Sanji's not really paying attention to what all is going on, because Jinbei has ways of finding out information. So the samurai should have reached the top of the battlefield. We ought to head there. How do you know everything that's happening? Watch out, because if Luffy gets a chance to fight, he'll take it. I'll keep that in mind. And then as we cut to another section of the castle, where Shinobu and Momonosuke are still running away from Yamato, and then Bao Huang is watching them using a piece of paper on the face of a cat that's up in the rafters, watching Shinobu and Yamato run past it. And Bao Huang is reporting to King, and King goes on to tell all of the Tobiroppo that this is King. The enemy's strength is about 5,400. Most of them are samurai rallying around Odin's vassals. In other words, this is a rebellion of the Kozuki clan to restore their house to power. They seek to place Odin's son, Kozuki Momonosuke, upon the shogun's throne of Wano. Kill Momonosuke and bring his head to me. This will break the will of the samurai to fight. The pirates will be a separate matter, I suppose. Momonosuke's current location is, and then it shows Shinobu running down the hallway in one section of the castle. And then it has Sasaki on the other end of that hallway, and he has a group of people aiming their weapons down where she is, arrows and guns and cannons, and it all fires on her position, and she kind of gets caught in the blast a little bit. A little scuffed up, but not the worst for wear. She still has Momonosuke protected. Then, in that split second, she manages to maneuver herself to shield Momonosuke from the incoming arrows as well. Bao Huang is so adorable, at least what we can see of her. She kind of reminds me of... She gives me Klee vibes from Genshin. That's the kind of vibe that she gives me when I look at her. She's like a small, squat person that you must protect. Even though she's on the wrong side of the people in this war. She just has that young kid aspect that you must protect kind of vibe to her, just a little bit. But Shinobu uses her body to shield Momonosuke from the incoming arrows that manage to hit her several times in the back. She starts bleeding out of her nose and mouth, and it's actually hurt her. Momonosuke sees that, says, Shinobu. Yamato doesn't know what's going on. Sasaki is saying, stay out of this, Kunoichi. Then another member jumps over to where Shinobu is and attempts to kill both Shinobu and Momonosuke, as Momonosuke tries to, be where Shinobu is. But before that happens, she's swatted aside. He's swatted aside by Yamato using her Kanamo with one hand, mind you. Like I said, she's ridiculously strong. If she's able to shield herself from Luffy's Gear 3rd attacks with little to no effort whatsoever, no damage to her weapon and no damage to herself. Like, I remember even she was able to block one of his attacks. Do you regret saying that the arc would end on chapter 1000, what someone else said? What I said was, either the arc will end on 1000 chapters, or we enter into a new section on 1000 chapters. That's what I said. I remember, because that got brought up a lot of times during my reaction during the chapters talking about that. So that's what I said. But Yamato, crazy strong, and she's able to guard himself from Gear 3rd Luffy with little to no effort whatsoever. Also, hey D-Train, what's going on? We're approaching the end of this chapter, and then we'll just talk a little about what to expect from the upcoming chapters tomorrow. I'm aware that some scans are already out. People have already read through it. If you already read through it, do not contribute to the conversation of any spoilers or anything like that. You guys know how I roll. the fight, so back, and Yamato just bats him aside, and then we see Sasaki on the back of one of the rhinos, a rhino smile user. It is his own armored division of the Beast Pirates. You see a crab user, you see a porcupine user, multiple bugs and beetles. I'm trying to make out what that is, but I can't tell if that person is part tank or what. I can't tell. Oh, I don't need to worry about Karma spoiling anything. He already knows how things go here, so I don't need to worry about it. He will do say certain things that I can tell are made up just to scare me, but Karma does not roll in that territory of just blurting out spoilers. I trust him enough to I trust him enough to know that he doesn't even do that. And then Sasaki says, so you intend to interfere? Sorry, I was looking at chat for a little bit. So you intend to interfere with this young Master Yamato? I'm not interfering. I'm fighting for Kozuki. Then it cuts back to the roof of the Skull Dome, where Kaido is laying down on his side, where his wound is bleeding. Sever his windpipe. Stop his breathing. This fight ain't over until his head is severed. Then Kaido gets up and says, in your spirit. Hey, Neil Johnson, we're going through the last chapter that we got here in October, which is chapter 993. In your spirit, I saw the visage of Kozuki Odin. I could have let you kill me. With each throb of my scar, I remember. But you people are not Odin. We will never see a monster samurai of his like again. It is too shallow. You don't even have enough power to open up the old scar. You cannot do it. And then he inhales and just starts to roar out of his mouth. And then he just starts sending invisible slashes. Even though we can see the effects themselves, the Akazaya 9 cannot see it. These are invisible slashes just going through the air. They're cutting stones, they're cutting everything around them, and in the process, Kiku loses an arm. And then both Izo and Kinemon say, Kiku! Then it says the next chapter will hit November 1st. Yes, I am reading chapters 993. This is the official last chapter we got in October. I know scans are probably out already. They probably came out yesterday and people already read it. But you guys know I don't read scans. Ever. Nor do I look up pictures of what's going to be coming up on this new chapter. Who has the better laugh, Kaido or Blackbeard? Asking the real questions here. So, Blackbeard has... and then you have Kaido who has... I will say this. Kaido, for as crazy as he is, I feel like his arm, I feel like his laugh, I feel like Kaido's laugh has that sense of, wow, that's kind of a ridiculous laugh, but you can't say anything to him out of fear of being killed by him. Blackbeard's laugh is iconic because of how big of an evil villain he is. Due to his grand scale of everything. He's literally orchestrated so many things going on in One Piece. The answer to the best laugh is Caesar Clown. I beg to differ, sir. The best laugh in all of One Piece is Foxy, of course. And a close second would be Jaguar de Shoal. That are the two best laughs in One Piece. Everybody else is secondary. But this is the last chapter we get in October. Next chapter hits tomorrow. Brooks is still your favorite laugh? Yo! Caesar Clown's laugh made from that Russian singer. Oh, you forgot about Foxy. My life is a failure. Yo! I mean, when you think about it, Brook has the most piratey sounding laugh. I mean, his laugh is literally yo ho ho. That's his whole laugh. That is literally a pirate trademark. So if anything, he has the most piratey laugh. Literally saying yo ho ho. And a handful of skull joke. Crocodile's laugh is like an incomplete one. Staccato as it is. Yes, it's literally like he's trying to find the right spot and right speed to laugh. He's all like Do you think Kaido's flashback will begin in Act 4? It's hard to say at this point. I would like to know where he got his high levels of invulnerability from, even though we can't just call him invulnerable anymore since he has a scar and he's actually been, cut multiple times. So I guess we can't say he's, permanently invulnerable now, but it would be interesting to see where he got his level of strength from and what a Kaido looked like. But then again, in the process, I wouldn't be surprised that if we were to see that, then we would have to inevitably see his time with the Rock's pirates. That's how I feel. We can't have a Kaido flashback without seeing him on the Rock's crew. We can see a little bit before that, but in order for it to be an actual real flashback for Kaido, it has to include his time with the Rock's crew. It has to. It absolutely has to. And I feel like if we get a Kaido flashback that includes history of the Rock's crew, then we get to find out just who Roxy Zebek was, how he was as a captain, aside from what Garp told us. And plus, do you think Raid is going to fail or succeed? I think I distinctly remember answering this the last several times you asked me during my last reaction. And I think it's still 50-50, because literally anything can happen at this point. I mean, who was expecting Kiku to lose an arm in this chapter? Who was expecting that to happen? No one! So it's really all up in the air to figure out whether this raid is going to succeed or not. I mean, the samurais themselves have already resolved to, take down Kaido or die trying. They've literally capsized their own ships because they have no intention of going back to Wano. They intend to literally give their very lives to take him down, both him and Orochi. But at the most, Kaido. Kaido's flashback where Rocks is going to be very dense panel to panel. It has to be. I want to see Whitebeard versus Kaido. It would be interesting to see the strength of Kaido versus the strength of Whitebeard. It really would be. Like, what would the Conqueror's hockey clashes be like between those two? Like, we've already seen, I'm expecting at least half the scabbards to die, so an arm is soft at this point. Yeah, one could say, I mean, he is able to launch out invisible slashes unless their observation hockey is strong enough to sense incoming intangible objects. Seeing Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, Rocks, and more on the same ship will be fire. Also, remember that one of the silhouettes for the Rocks' crew was Shiki the Golden Lion. It's specifically Shiki the Golden Lion. So, Shiki was on there. Possibly that, what is her name? Hagurashi Kurozumi? The one that had the clone fruit beforehand. She's clearly been out and about in the world. So who knows? Maybe she was on... I forgot I made the Conqueror's Hockey, my Conqueror's Hockey sound effect, my phone notification. I was about to say, like, what was that? And I just forgot that I had said that before I started the stream. But it'd be interesting to see what the entire crew of the Roxas crew was like. Kiku losing an arm is like George Weasley getting his hand cut off. It's shocking, but maybe gives the audience the wrong idea that Izu, Fred... I'm getting a lot of notifications over there. It's a good thing I got strong willpower, otherwise I would have been knocked out of there. Also, Captain John. Yes, Captain John was on that crew as well. It's shocking, but maybe gives the audience the wrong idea that Izu, Fred, is now protected from the author. But here's the thing about One Piece. There's a certain level of plot armor, but the plot armor is not infinite. Because anyone could die at any moment. The only people who have a very high level of resilience to this are the Straw Hat crew. Even though they've came close to death many a times, it doesn't mean that they're 100% protected. So it'd be interesting to see. Interesting to see there. I think Shaki is there as well. It'd be interesting if Shaki was a part. Wait, was Shaki? Hold on. Shaki. Does it say when she was part of the Roxas crew? Or does it say it at all? She gave up the life of a pirate 42 years ago to open a bar. Doesn't say anything about Rox, but still. Shaki may be on Rox's crew. Izo is still most likely to die. Was Shaki Akuja? I don't know. It's never confirmed that. It's actually never confirmed whether she's like from the that's the end of the chapter, so I can go ahead and exit out of that whole panel right there. Awaiting the next chapter tomorrow. Ooh, I'm so excited! But with Shaki Akuja, that's an interesting theory. I mean, it would explain how it would give her like some credibility to her level of strength and how she's managed to avoid Garp for all her years after all this time, because not many people can do that. Of all the Marines to chase you down, Garp is probably one of the hardest to avoid. Random impression request, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Frieza, and Dr. Doom, please and thank you. The Straw Hats are the 5th strongest pirate crew in One Piece. Who are the first 4? Well, obviously it would have to be the I'm guessing it's the Yonkos, the Yonko crews who are in place of those. Who are in place are in the 1, 2, 3, the 1st through 4th spots for strongest crews, and the Straw Hats are right behind them. But overall, before I start going off on different things real quick, I need to go ahead and give my consensus of these chapters. We only got 2 chapters because of the break, but these were good chapters. And there's actually been some speculations over what Kaido meant by yes, the Yonkos don't think anyone else can beat them. Okay, I don't know why I thought that anyone else could fit in, other than the Yonkos could ever fit into those 1 through 4th spots. Remember the days when people said Akainu could beat Garp during the war arc? No one says that now. Of course they don't! Actually, I wonder who are the people who said Akainu could beat Garp during the war arc? Do they forget that Garp was literally making his way to Akainu after he killed Ace? And Sengoku had to hold him down in order to keep him from killing Akainu? It don't matter if Akainu's body is made of lava. Garp is Garp. He would have killed him. Would have straight up killed him. Even though Akainu's power was able to, deal some damage to Whitebeard of all people. Compared to Garp, there's a reason why Akainu is just called Akainu and Garp has the nickname Hero of all of the Marines. Literally the only person able to go against Roger, aside from... Actually, you know, he's the only Marine to literally go up against Roger multiple times. Countless times, actually. Akainu ain't got nothing on Garp. Don't matter if he's increased his power over the time skip. Don't matter if he's been made Fleet Admiral. Akainu ain't got nothing on Garp, and he didn't have nothing on Garp back in the pre-time skip. So I don't know where people got from that Akainu could beat Garp. Are you kidding? Check out comments on YouTube of that clip. People saying that Sengoku saved Garp and that he would have died. Those poor fools. Oh, those... I gotta bring out my Wesker here. Those poor deluded fools, thinking that Monkey D. Garp was incapable of taking out Akainu. Not just Roger, the Rocks Pirates too. Seriously, Garp's strength is on a whole nother level than where the Admirals are at, okay? And he chooses to be a Vice Admiral because it means less constrictions. That's the only reason why he hasn't taken up an Admiral position. He's more than qualified, and he doesn't even have a Devil Fruit power. He just relies on raw physical strength. That's enough to get him to Admiral position. He doesn't even need a Devil Fruit to get that extra bonus. He just... and knocks the living daylights out of people. 'Cause he that strong. I mean, he could throw cannonballs like they're baseballs, and they have more destructive effects than actual cannons being used to shoot them. Akainu can beat Garp. Get out of here with that foolishness. Good lord. That actually kind of hurt my brain. People actually thinking that Akainu could take Garp. No. He just doesn't want to be under the Celestial Dragon's control. Exactly. I also saw some comments saying that Roger basically carried him versus Rocks. Roger and Garp are in the same league, okay? Can we say that? I'm saying that. Why? Because no one out of the Marines has ever been able to go up against Roger single-handedly. I watched your channel a long time ago when you had 100. Wow, I remember those days, only having 100 subscribers, and now I'm in the 4-digit range. It's amazing how far this channel has come. Thank you, Ant the Gamer. Yeah, I just had to reminisce there. But Roger and Garp and Roger, they are in the same league with one another. For the Pirates, the height of power is Roger. For the Marines, the height of power is Sengoku and Garp. It's not the Admirals, it's not anyone there, it's not Fujitora, it's not anyone else. It's Sengoku and Garp. But Garp most of all, because Garp is the only one we've seen thus far who's been able to, you know, almost rein in Roger on his own. Just remember, Garp has been, over the years of Roger being the king of the pirates, he has had multiple run-ins with Roger on multiple accounts. And even, does King of Pirates need to be strongest? I mean, he's never lost. It would help. Especially with the notoriety. So, I mean, it helps. I'm not saying that they need to be the strongest, but given the world of One Piece and just how astronomically powerful a lot of people are in the new world, it helps. Okay, I want an honest opinion. Who won the small fight they had, Whitebeard or Akainu? Whitebeard did. Whitebeard did. It was all Whitebeard. While Whitebeard may have suffered a lot of damage, especially if you're going by the manga, dude literally had half of his face blown off, burnt off, then had his chest blown into, insides charbroiled, which, let's be honest here, for all intents and purposes, should have killed him. That amount of heat in a person's body should cause them to die instantly. Yet, Whitebeard not only tanked having his face blown off, half his face blown off, but also having his inside literally melted, and still manage to not only manhandle a Kainu, but also almost kill him. If it wasn't for Akainu using, Mego, for using Hellhound and taking his face off, Akainu would have seriously died. But even then, after, causing him to, people say that Akainu beat Whitebeard because he had half his face blown off, but that was after he had already been stabbed and shot multiple times before the fight. Okay, can we just remember the amount of times that the body count and the amount of times that Whitebeard was injured the entire time during the Marineford War. Not to mention, this man was 72 years old before he died. And yet, he had not that big of a problem going up against a Kainu. I don't know where people are getting the idea where Akainu beat Whitebeard. Whitebeard died because of Blackbeard. Notice that even if you go by the anime, then it doesn't show all the super grievous injuries that Whitebeard had gained during the entire fight. Like, obviously, they couldn't show half of his face literally gored off on the anime. But Whitebeard went up against Blackbeard with this injury, having half of his face blown off, okay? He had that going on. Almost killed Whitebeard by nearly cleaving him in two. And if it wasn't for Blackbeard being the coward that he was in the moment, calling in his crew to, kind of stab him and shoot him to death until Whitebeard could no longer, well, I can't say no longer stand because that's how he died. That's what killed Whitebeard. It wasn't the countless amounts of cannonballs, sword stabs, getting stabbed by Squard, the multiple heart attacks that he had during the fight, getting half of his face blown off, and then having the inside of his body charbroiled by a magma devil fruit user. It was only getting shot a couple more times by Blackbeard, and stabbed a couple more times by Blackbeard and his crew that did him in. Akainu ain't beating that. If he was capable, then Whitebeard would have died before Blackbeard got to him. But he didn't, because Whitebeard is a monster, and Akainu is a monster in action only. That Conqueror's Hockey thing is gonna keep resonating in my mind for a long time. I wonder if I actually should have set that as the notification, but that whole Conqueror's Hockey thing is I gotta get used to it, okay? I've always had Jarvis telling me that I had like a message come in, but I just wanted to switch things up a little bit. If they fought from the beginning of the war, Whitebeard would have destroyed Akainu. No problem whatsoever. The only person who managed to go up against Whitebeard no problem and come out without a scratch from the Admirals was Kizaru. That was the only person who managed to go have a confrontation with Whitebeard and come out intact. Completely. Aokichi tried it, and he ended up getting smacked by Jozu. Drew some blood from that. Kainu went up against Whitebeard, wound up getting his entire rib cage just shook. Just baby shook from Whitebeard later on in their fights. Kizaru just trolled him. Am I finished reading? Yes, there was only 2 chapters. I'm just talking with you guys now about One Piece now. Overall, I thought the chapters were very good. It's sad that we only got 2 chapters. I would have liked to have gotten 3, but it's fine because I was about to call Oda Kizaru. But Oda's health is more important. If he had to take more days off in order to rest, then hey, I'm okay with it. But the only person to come out of an encounter with Whitebeard during the Marineford War completely intact out of all the admirals was Kizaru. And the dude was just chill the whole time. Like, remember when he was fighting Whitebeard? That Conqueror's Hockey is going to keep going off. My willpower's too strong! My phone's Conqueror's Hockey is not strong enough to knock me out. But remember when Kizaru was facing off against Whitebeard and he was holding down Whitebeard's Bacento with his foot, just holding it down. Whitebeard could have brought it up at any time, but Kizaru was just casually like looking on like, oh, Mugiwara no Luffy is over there. I wonder what he's gonna do. he might make it in time. And he's just casually standing on top of Whitebeard's weapon. Is like, yeah, you're not moving anywhere, bro. Then Whitebeard tries to slash him. Kizuru easily dodges it. And in the midst of that same attack, manages to shoot a light beam into Whitebeard. The only person to actually land an attack on Whitebeard, the only admiral to land an attack on Whitebeard, and not receive any comeuppance because of it. Nothing with any actual big repercussions. I mean, sure, he did the Yasakani no Magatama against Whitebeard, and end up, going up against Marco a little bit, and got kicked into a building, but he came out of that unscathed. Every encounter with Whitebeard from Kizuru had him walk out of that entire encounter unscathed. Aokiji got bloodied from getting slapped by a hockey-imbued, diamond-encrusted Jozu. Akainu, we saw what happened to him. Kizuru walked away without a scratch. He's the only admiral to walk away from the whole thing without a scratch. Just shows you that Kizuru is holding more power than we've known. It's just that his personality is keeping us from seeing the full extent of his skills. Let me see what you guys have been saying so far. Yonkos, better than admirals. I still say it takes at least 2 admirals to equal a Yonko, maybe 3. I'd say 2 that are unprepared. I say 3 that's unprepared. 2 if they are prepared. Being king of pirates doesn't have to be the strongest, but Luffy seems to think so because he wants to take down all the Yonkos and will fight any admiral. That's just personality he has. Correction, the other person to attack Whitebeard and be fine was Squard. Still don't like him. Here's the thing about Squard. His whole fault was he was still holding on to past grudges of what Roger did to him in the past. He was still up in his feelings. And when you up in your feelings, sometimes you do stupid stuff. Such as, stabbing your captain through the chest. Because some random marine, your enemy, told you that Whitebeard was gonna sell you out. And in an instant, you automatically believed it. So yeah, it's Squard's own fault for being dumb and gullible. Sure, let me just believe this marine that I have never met before and just automatically trust his word because I don't like Ace. And this just sounds believable. Be right back. Grabs sword, stabs Whitebeard in the chest. So it's Squard's own fault for being dumb and gullible and thinking that an enemy would actually give him willingful information. I'm like, dude, really? Marines and admirals are your enemies as a pirate. Why would you believe anything they say unless you still holding grudges? So that's Squard's fault. But he has to live with that now. He had a part to play in Whitebeard's death. And Ace's death. And now he has to live with that forever. Until Edward Weevil comes along and tries to find the treasure. I say treasure with quotation marks. But yeah, Squard's stupid for believing everything you see on an infomercial. Oh, that sounds about right. Let me call this number. Hey, you guys see this? I think it's right. Let me get it. And then you get it and it's like, this is not what I wanted. That's Squard. Dumb, gullible fool. Kizuru should go all out once. I just want to see the extent of the capabilities of the Pika Pika no Mi. Because we know that Kizuru is holding back. I mean, we've seen his attacks. They're basically nukes. His lasers explode. Nuke-size blasts. And he can move at light speed. Or at least One Piece's interpretation of light speed. Which is faster than anyone can kind of comprehend. Because, remember, in Sabo de Archipelago, he knocked down Scratchman into a building in an instant. And then he was, in a split second, from a far off distance in the air, he was already down on the ground directly in front of Drake, gearing himself up to kick him in the face. And You can tell it's being shown from Kizaru's perception of speed because Drake is not moving at all. He's still looking in the same direction of where Kizaru was back in the sky. So from that instance, you see time move at the speed of which Kizaru perceives everything. And he just kicks him into a building. I mean, how many lasers did he shoot in the water to try and get Luffy at least hundreds in an instant? That's the thing. Light in the One Piece world tends to move as light does. Fast. If it wasn't for John Bart and his expert piloting skills... Have to head out. Thanks for the stream. Hey, it was great to have you, Neil. Just wanted to talk about One Piece just a little bit for you guys a little bit today. Might do a Halloween stream. I'm still trying to figure out what game I'm going to play tonight because I want to play something tonight. But Kizaru's power is overpowered. And the fact that we only get like 3 named attacks from him, he has to have more. But he only has Yasakani no Magatama, Yatano Kagami, and then Amano Murakumo. I feel like he has more up his sleeve, he just doesn't use it. Rayleigh versus Odin. I mean, Odin tried to go up against Roger. Roger attacked him one time with Divine Departure and sent him flying in one direction. I mean, Scooper and Rayleigh wanted to take on Odin themselves. So honestly, you know what? As strong as Odin is, even though he was able to injure Kaido, I still say Rayleigh. I mean, Rayleigh is just crazy strong. I know Odin is very strong. Leagues above anyone else we've seen in terms of power for quite some time, aside from other pirates that we've seen. But Rayleigh... I mean, he's basically Obi-Wan Kenobi of One Piece. He's just ridiculously powerful, he just doesn't use it all the time. I mean, he's able to use that level of armament hockey that Luffy is trying to perfect now, like the Ryuo version. Rayleigh's able to do that effortlessly. I mean, how many lasers did he shoot in the water? Kizaru has the best devil fruit, in my opinion, even without being as fast as light it would be. I mean, when you think about it, he has the effect of not only being able to turn into light, but he can shoot out lasers that can explode into nuclide blasts that have highly destructive capabilities, but also form light constructs that are also solid. He can make things that are made of light into solid objects. Which, if you were to use real life logic in anime or manga, which is for whatever reason, why would you do that? That's asinine. That's defeating the purpose. Should be physically impossible for him to make light solid. It's light. Not only that, but he can basically manipulate his own weight as well, which allows him to stay afloat in the air indefinitely if he so chose. There's a lot of capabilities. Plus, of course, the usual intangibility. The only weakness we've seen is people using armament hockey. And that was from Rayleigh, and... yeah, it was mainly seen from Rayleigh thus far. We have only seen Old Man Rayleigh, and he was able to fight an admiral. We have never seen Prime Rayleigh, and only seen Prime Odin. That's the thing, though. That's the scary thing. That's the scary thing. All the capabilities we've seen of Rayleigh is when he's... hold on. Rayleigh... how old is Rayleigh right now? As of right now, after the time skip, he is now 78 years old. So, in actuality, he was even older than Whitebeard. When he debuted, he was 76, and Whitebeard was 72. He's older than Whitebeard. Hold on. I might be wrong. No! We see Rayleigh before we get to Marineford. Rayleigh is 76. Whitebeard during this time is 72. So Rayleigh is older than Whitebeard. Was older than Whitebeard, and we've seen his strength, and it's at that level. Which is scary. We've seen him fight an admiral with no problem. Rayleigh is the only person that we've seen thus far in this whole series that was able to actually give Kizaru a wound. He was able to cut him across the cheek. That is the only time in this entire series that we've seen thus far that Kizaru has ever suffered even the smallest of injuries. Ever. No one in the entire history of One Piece has brought Kizaru to that point where he actually drew blood. Rayleigh was the only person to do that. And that was during their small skirmish when he was protecting the Straw Hats from him. So let's just talk about that. Let's just think about that. Of all the people that Kizaru's encountered and fought, Rayleigh was the only one to actually make him draw a little bit of blood. Sure, it was just a bleeding scratch, but it was a scratch nonetheless. No one else has been able to do that. Scratchman or Pooh may have dismembered him a little bit, but I wouldn't call that a wound because he just reformed himself using his Logia powers. But Rayleigh is the only person to give the untouchable Kizaru his only wound in the entire series of One Piece this far. Kizaru said it would take a lot of warships to bring him down. It would take a lot. It would take a lot of the Marines' power in order to bring down Rayleigh. I mean, Rayleigh has to be at least Yonko level. Actually, of the current Yonko, who may be stronger than them. Don't know Blackbeard or Shanks' full power yet. He was scared of Ben Beckman, then again trolled him. Here's the thing. I was talking to, okay, so you guys know Max. Max 3 Defender, that I had that discussion with, talking about the 4Kids edit of One Piece. Me and him were talking a little bit more about the strength of the people during Marineford War. And I gotta talk about Ben Beckman for a little bit. And about his level of power and his speed. So during the time when Kobe gave his big speech to stop the war and Akainu was about to kill him, and Shanks just came up out of nowhere with lightning speed and intercepted Akainu's attack in order to save Kobe. Saving Kobe and, blocking Akainu. At the same time, Shanks' ship was still making its way to Marineford. Ben Beckman was already up on the mast where Kizaru was, trying to attack Luffy and Law and all the other Heart Pirates, without Kizaru noticing him until Ben Beckman actually loaded his gun. The sound of the gun is what caused Kizaru to turn towards him. But up until that point, Ben Beckman managed to get not only from the ship, but all the way up to the ship that Kizaru was on, and up to the mast without Kizaru ever noticing him until he heard the cock of his gun load. So can we just talk about how scary that is? The man who can move at light speed was held at gunpoint by a person he didn't even know was there until the last possible second, and didn't notice until the last possible second. Do you want to know how frightening that is? To a person who can already move at the speed of light? To be surprised by someone else? That's scary. Ben Beckman is scary. It's crazy, but it's scary. How do you sneak up on a person who can move faster than anyone else in the world? Unless you're able to move faster. Do we only know 5 red hair pirate crew names? Can you name them all? Lucky Roo, Ben Beckman, Yasop. Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo, Yasop, Rockstar. Lucky Roo, Ben Beckman, Yasop, Rockstar. and Shanks. Do we not know anyone else's name? Those are the only 5 that I'm coming up on. Those are the only 5 that I'm coming up on. Are those the only ones? Hold on, let me pull up Shanks. Let me pull up Shanks' crew. Are those the only 5? Shanks is the last. Come on. Shanks is the last. Okay. Lucky Roo. Okay, the guy with the chimpanzee. The guy with the monkey. I forgot. I forgot the guy with the monkey. I haven't even looked at the Red Hair Pirates page yet, but the guy with the monkey, I forget his name. The guy with the monkey on him. What is his name? Wait a minute. Is he? That's not part of Shanks' crew. Is it? No one else is named. We got Shanks, Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo, Yasopp, and Rockstar. We have the other members, but their names have not been revealed. The guy with the shades and the beanie. We got the guy with the monkey pulling on his mouth. We got the guy with some other shades and the thick neck. We got another dude who's blonde hair. We got a guy with sharp teeth. And then we got a actual literal monkey. They're unnamed at the moment, but those are the 5. The guy with the monkey doesn't have a name. We know what they look like, but only know 5 names. Yeah, Shanks, Ben Beckman, Yasopp, Lucky Roo, and Rockstar. Those are the only 5 members of the Red Hair Pirates that we know the name of at the moment. So those are the only ones we know. I think Monkey is Mink, though. That remains to be seen. We'll have to see at some point. But just the level of skill of the Red Hair Pirates, just the fact that they literally stepped onto the field and they says, all right, I asked you guys to stop this war, but if you want to keep fighting, we can fight right here, right now. And everyone was all like, all right, I'm gonna head out. The level of terror that they inflicted on everyone there present, it was like, yeah, we're not in a place to take on the Red Hair Pirates right now. But going to Ben Beckman, let me see his capabilities, if it actually lists his speed. As an Emperor's first mate, Beckman can be assumed to hold significant combat ability. 12 years ago, Beckman single-handedly defeated Higuma's crew of mountain bandits using only a cigarette and his rifle as a club. Didn't shoot nobody, he just beat all of his crew members to death. And used the cigarette, too. At the end of the Battle of Marineford, Marine Admiral Kizaru chose not to engage with Beckman when the latter had him held at gunpoint, even though Kizaru had fought Marco earlier and even Whitebeard himself. So, it's scary when a person who's willing to take on Marco and Whitebeard chooses not to fight Ben Beckman. And this person is also a Logia user. Though given pause and putting his hands up in seeming surrender, Kizaru did shortly thereafter continue what Ben Beckman sought to prevent him from doing, trying to assail Luffy, suggesting Kizaru had not truly been cowed by Beckman's presence. So, in that case, it could have just been Kizaru, trolling as usual. But at the same time, he still didn't do anything. A highly intelligent man, Beckman has the highest IQ of any character introduced in the East Blue Saga, above the master strategist Kuro. Demonstrating some stealth prowess, when the Red Hair Pirates arrived at Marineford to stop the war, Beckman was able to climb up and sit on a marine ship's mast to point his flintlock at a nearby Kizaru. Also, Kizaru has observation haki, and he did not sense Beckman, okay? Without the latter noticing until Beckman made his presence known. Not only all these things about Kizaru, that Beckman pretty much just surmounted, but Beckman was able to sneak past a person with observation haki. That's 3 times as scary now. Am I the only one still waiting for those Warlord bounties? I mean, they won't outshine the Yonko bounties, but just give me that Mihawk bounty. Do we even know his Mihawk's bounty? Like, in the past? Weren't they frozen? They were frozen. No! We don't know. No, we don't know Mihawk's bounty. Yo, okay, I'm actually anxious. I want to find out what their bounties are as well. Do you think Kizaru would have dodged if Ben Beckman shot? It's hard to say. It's hard to say if he would have dodged or he would have just let it pass through him. But then at the same time, there's still talks of people saying that, you know, Ben Beckman could have either been using, you know, Kairoseki bullets or enhanced it with haki. So that would have made the whole intangible thing kind of null and void. So it's kind of hard to say whether or not Kizaru would have actually dodged out of the way if Ben Beckman shot. It's kind of hard to say. It really is, because Kizaru is a bit of a troll. So we don't know exactly. But no, we don't know Mihawk's bounty. I honestly want to see what the Warlords are doing now that the Marines are coming for them. Mihawk, I'm not worried about. Hancock, I'm not worried about. Because they're strong. One has an entire island of warrior women that can all use armament haki on their weapons and bows and arrows. Plus, they got snake weapons as well. Then they have the empress of the entire island, Boa Hancock, who can not only use armament haki, but also use conqueror's haki. And she has access to a devil fruit that makes her physical capabilities twice as deadly. Then you have Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, and that's it. Sure, you could count the mandrills, but Mihawk doesn't need help to take on anybody. So I honestly can't wait to see what happens when the former warlords, we might as well just call them pirates now because they're no longer warlords. It'd be interesting to see how their fight goes down. They never showed Mihawks. They showed Buggy, Dofi, Law, and Crocodile. I'm not sure about Boa and Moria. All right, so let me actually pull that up and see if that actually comes up. So let me put up Moria's and let me pull up Boa Hancock's. Okay, where are you? Where are you? Remember, the 5th of November. That day has well, actually, November hasn't even come by yet. Reminds me to watch V for Vendetta on the 5th of November. Alright, so Boa Hancock, 80 million. Wait, is that right? 80 million? That has to be her bounty before she became a warlord. That has to have increased since then. There is no way she has just a simple 80 million berry bounty. Then with Gecko Moria, he has 320 million. How is Boa Hancock's bounty so small, given her level of strength? That's crazy low. Yeah, that's low. 80 million? How is her... I would have thought that her bounty would have been much higher than that. But... it's only 80? That's it? While Moria gets 320 million. Hold on, let me pull up Kuma's. Like, what? Boa Hancock has 80 million in comparison to everyone else. Kuma has 296 million. Doflamingo had 340 million. Let me pull up Buggy, Edward Weevils, and Laws. Well, actually, some of these are revoked now, so the only people who still kind of apply: members before dissolution, Dracula, Mihawk, Kuma, Hancock, Buggy, and Edward Weevil. Buggy's is 15 million. So, not surprising, Buggy has the lowest bounty out of all of them. He only has a slightly higher bounty because of the amount of people who are on his crew. A lot of members, a lot of people on his crew coming from level 5 and level 6 of Impel down. Edward Weevil is 480. Wow, he has the highest bounty out of everyone in the entire... Well, the highest seen bounty out of everyone in the entire Warlords. Because the person who was next highest to him was Doflamingo. Then... No, it's Law. Law has a higher one. Laws is 500 million. Edward Weevil is right behind him with 480. Knew it. Maybe she becomes Warlord than expected. Kuma had 296. Yeah. Laws bounty 500. Bounty after defeating Doflamingo. Yep, just read through that one. So, Mihawk is the only person from the Warlords whose bounty has never been seen. Because on his page it just says unknown. I want to know, please show me. I want to know about Mihawk's bounty, please. Tell me more, please show me. It's so mysterious, Mihawk's bounty, please. But I really want to know. They said in the chapter where the Yonko's bounties were revealed that they were revising new bounties for them, and they haven't been revealed yet. We only know their bounties before they were Warlords. Dragon hasn't got his yet. Can't wait to see that 5 billion on Dragon. Well, he is the world's most dangerous, most wanted criminal, and seeing as how the Celestial Dragons see him as their foremost enemy. Well, the world government does. The Celestial Dragons are too stupid to actually put that into perspective. I would not be surprised if his bounty is on par or surpasses that of Roger. I wouldn't be surprised, because Roger's bounty is based on his career as a pirate. But what is the bounty based on a person whose career has literally been to rid the world of the world government itself? That has to be like... must be killed on sight type territory right there. But overall, it's going to be interesting to see how everything goes down. So all the Warlords bounties have gone up. Buggy is going to have a huge bounty and be terrified, because more people are going to be gunning for him, especially not just the world government, but pirates as well. But given how he has a whole entire crew of just very, very naive people that seem to think that whatever luck happens to Buggy is an act of divine providence, I doubt that it's going to be easy for actual competition to get close to him without some minimal difficulty. So Dragon has a higher bounty than Roger. I'm not saying that because it has not been confirmed yet. But one would think, this is just a theory, one would think that a person who has become king of the pirates and literally discovered all that there is to discover about the Void Century, literally something the world government doesn't want to know, would have a higher bounty for a person who's literally trying to get rid of the world government altogether. Literally smashing the system. I feel like that calls for a higher bounty than a pirate who's gone around the world and just discovered secrets. At least that's how I see things. I'm hoping that Mihawk's bounty is over 2 billion. It would be nice. But these are all good things to talk about. I will say this, you guys. I didn't expect to actually be recording this long because I expected to go through the chapters, talk a little bit, and then call it a session. But I'm actually having a fun time just doing these conversations with you guys. I just want to say real quick, if I don't say anything else for the rest of this stream and I just end it right here, thank you guys for coming by and just talking. Doesn't Rayleigh still have a bounty? Hold on, let me pull that up. Thank you guys for just coming by and just talking with, just joining into the conversation about One Piece. You know how I feel about these? I love this. His bounty is unknown. But I feel it would be right underneath Roger's, due to his status as, you know, right hand of the Pirate King. But thank you guys for just coming out to just see me talk about One Piece. Even though we got 2 chapters, I still got a lot of what I wanted to say about these chapters out. And people still debate that Dofi is stronger than Mihawk. I'm just hoping that Oda proves them wrong. You don't need Oda to prove that Mihawk is stronger than Dofi. I mean, Doflamingo is strong. I will not argue with that fact. But I just feel like Mihawk's strength is on a whole different level than anything that Dofi has shown. Imagine people have been hyping up Mihawk for years and imagine he's not even stronger than Dofi. That would suck. Some also say he's stronger than Katakuri. Here's the thing that popped into my head in that moment, because I was thinking about, well, what if Mihawk is in the same range as Katakuri? That would be cool and all, but then that would mean that his strength is on the same level as Luffy's then, or slightly above it, which is not the case. We know that Mihawk is stronger than Luffy. Even Luffy knows to avoid a fight with Mihawk. There was remember back in Marineford when he was prepared to fight Mihawk and he stopped himself from attacking because he actually saw that Mihawk was going to cut his arms off if he tried to attack him and use his attacks, because Mihawk is that fast. Luffy's punches may be strong and they may be fast, but they are not Mihawk fast. Otherwise, Luffy would be, you know, rocking out some hooks for hands for right now. Do you think people have hyped Mihawk up so much that we are expecting him to be stronger than he actually is? I feel like people are really setting their expectations exceedingly high. Like people who are waiting on Cyberpunk. I am hyped for the game, mind you, but I'm not setting it so high where I think it's going to be the god of all games and nothing will surpass it. And nothing will ever reach its height. It's untouchable, it's unkillable, it's unmatchable. Nothing will ever be able to live up to that type of height. I'm not giving Mihawk that type of height. I'm acknowledging that he's strong, and I do have high hopes that we're going to see his level of strength and why he's known as the world's greatest swordsman. But I'm not gonna hype him up to the point where Mihawk can solo the entire One Piece world, because we don't know what else is out there in the world. I'm just saying. But I will say that people do tend to put their expectations and hype expectations exceedingly high for characters that we haven't even seen the full capabilities for yet. Now, mind you, at the same time, as strong as Mihawk is, at some point, Zoro versus Mihawk is going to happen. And either one of two things is going to happen. Zoro wins and beats Mihawk, or Zoro loses. Either one of those things are going to happen. Now, Mihawk fans may be mad that Mihawk gets beaten, or Zoro fans are going to be mad that Zoro gets beaten. Either one of those two things, all at the same time. People just don't need to set their hype expectations over a certain limit if they want to, you know, not get disappointed at a certain outcome. As far as these characters are concerned. Fujitora versus Mihawk. Well, I know this is non-canon, but during One Piece Stampede, which is a fantastic movie, by the way. My goodness. Seeing Fujitora bring down a meteor, then Zora using Trichilio causing the billionfold world on the meteor, and he only cuts it in two, then Mihawk with one slash literally just destroys the entire meteor. I don't think we need to worry about Mihawk having trouble against Fujitora with his meteors. It really comes down to the swordsmanship itself, and whether or not Mihawk is able to withstand Fujitora's gravity. Because that's something that Fujitora has going for him. Like, he can increase the weight of his strikes by putting a wave of gravity behind it. And so, it's kind of hard to say whether Fujitora versus Mihawk is actually an accurate matchup. I still feel like, here's the thing. We've seen Fujitora fight, but we have not seen all that he's done. Because him pulling down meteors, he said it himself. That's just him testing his strength. Which means his level of strength is beyond what he's actually shown. So he's hiding his power. He has not gone all out. He has not shown everything. As destructive as he is, we have not seen everything that Fujitora is capable of. Nor have we seen what Mihawk is capable of. So that remains to be seen on whether a Fujitora versus Mihawk matchup could have an actual outcome between either of the two. Still waiting for final ammo reveal. Wano been so hype, I almost forgot about Ryukugiyu. It remains to be seen what Ryukugiyu can do. I cannot wait to see what happens with Ryukugiyu. His reveal, whether he has a devil fruit or not. It'd be interesting if he doesn't have a devil fruit at all, and he's just an abnormal person with absurd strength. I mean, I'm thinking about, like, what could he possibly be, or what powers or abilities could he possibly have that makes it so that he can go 3 years without eating, just in case he meets a pretty girl and he wants to make sure he's in shape. I'm kind of interested in seeing what he's like. But the fact that we know he's strong, because Doflamingo knows that Fujitora and Ryukugiyu were hired during the draft, during the 2-year time skip. And they're both cult monsters, so they, for all intents and purposes, if you want to say as a theory, he could, for all intents and purposes, be in the same strength as Fujitora is. But we don't know if he has any powers, or whether it's just full strength. Those remain to be seen. Green Bull might be a hippie. It'd be interesting to see like a... Yo, pirates, man, I know I'm supposed to be coming after you, but if you promise not to just, like be a criminal and everything, then maybe I'll just let this one go, alright? I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Isho, what do you think, man? I don't know if I want to go after them. I mean, they look like nice folks. I mean, it'd be funny if he was an actual... It'd be funny if he was an actual hippie. It'd be funny. Green Bull being used photosynthesis, like I said multiple times. Even though it sounds nice on paper. It sounds nice when you type it out. It sounds nice when you try to tell it to other people. We don't know Ryukugiyu's power. You can all day tell me that Ryukugiyu's power is him having a plant power, he uses photosynthesis, all these random out the left field theories or whatever. I ain't saying he got nothing until we see it. Those are just theories and they will remain as such. So that's all I got to say there. Green Bull smokes weed. No, that's Kizaru. Why do you think he doesn't, why do you think he's not fazed by anything? I told you about photosynthesis. You did. And I tuned it out because that's just a theory. There's literally no evidence that points to that. Him sitting in sunlight does not mean it's photosynthesis. Like I said, out of left field. I told you way back when. But that's all I got for concerning the strength of Mihawk and the Warlords. And I mean, with the way that Wano is going right now, part of me is thinking that we may not finish the Wano arc. After he's revealed, we have to come back here and review your impression and see how far off you were with that hippie voice. Well, depending on his personality and his appearance, But plants sit in sunlight in real life. I sit in sunlight in real life. Does that mean I'm using photosynthesis? No. It means I'm sitting in sunlight! But it depends on Rikugyu's personality and his appearance. I could give him like a Hispanic accent. He could be like a Casanova, depending on how the situation goes. But if he becomes unpleasant to our eyes, I may add in another accent here and there. But that depends on how he looks officially and how he behaves. I can't really base it off of the limited time that he spoke in the panels that we've seen his silhouette when he was talking on Marijois. But we'll have to see when he's fully revealed. Kyushu uses photosynthesis. He has a surfer voice. He's basically going to have a Johnny Cage personality. And you sitting in sunlight doesn't defeat my argument. You are not a plant, bro. Doesn't count. Stop it. It doesn't count for him either. Because he's sitting in sunlight. That don't count either. Green Bull has a plant-based devil fruit because yes, because people say he has one, it automatically means that he has it. Get out. I love these conversations. I really do. I love it. It gives me reason to be slightly savage in a manner, a little bit, and just be straight up blunt, just a little bit. I enjoy these conversations nonetheless. I may discredit a whole bunch of what some of y'all be saying sometimes, but I actually do enjoy them. I will admit. But there's still so many loose ends to tie up. I've been going on for an hour and 31 minutes. Wow, has it really been an hour and 31? I feel like I haven't been going that long. But there's still we still haven't seen a Zoan Admiral. I have my hope. Ooh. We don't know unless revealed. Thank you, Static. I remember people believe Fujitora used to turn people into statues. That sounds a lot like Boa Hancock's abilities. But there's still so many lookups. I'm not even paying attention to you, Jay. I'm not, because you're trying. You writing in caps is not going to get my attention and acknowledge what you're saying. Moving on. We still have a lot of loose ends to tie up, such as Drake being part of Sword. What is Sword? What Blackbeard is doing right now? What is going on at the Reverie? What happened to Sabo? What happened to the Revolutionaries? There is so many things going on right now that we still have to resolve. And I honestly feel like the next arc, like even if we hit 1,000 chapters of One Piece, the way things are looking right now, there still is I feel like we still may be going into Wano past 1,000 chapters. We're still going to be dealing with Wano past 1,000 chapters. Like some of you said, it may be entering into Act 4 with 1,000 chapters, but I honestly feel that with 1,000 chapters, what is an unpopular opinion about One Piece? That it's too long. That's actually a popular opinion about One Piece. Unpopular opinion is One Piece's art style is stupid looking, and the way that the women are drawn is ridiculous. I've seen that a bunch of times. I still want a mythical vampire fruit like Redfield from One Piece Unlimited World Red. I remember it was a straight up bat fruit, but it was also a vampire fruit as well. It's a shame that that wasn't canon. Redfield was actually an interesting character who also had a pen that was also a tanuki. One Piece isn't long enough. No, it isn't, because there's so much going on. Oh, what is my unpopular opinion about One Piece? Well, my opinion is it's a phenomenal story. It does really good with world building, and It does very good with hiding secrets in plain sight. And we just overlook them. Some people may notice something strange, but it doesn't come into play until a lot later when we find out, like, oh, wow, that's going on. So that's my opinion is One Piece does world building and character building, character development very well for the story that it is. And also the artistry of the series as a whole, it's very well done. And I say the same for My Hero Academia, but I feel like with My Hero, come on, if Oda made a canon vampire fruit, it would be awesome. It would be! Sadly, we only get a non-canon one in a video game. It would be cool to see what would happen if we had an actual vampire-type devil fruit. Because then it would raise the question, like, it's never nighttime in One Piece, though. That's actually an unpopular opinion, because it's been night many times. Chapter 1, Shanks uses hockey. 400 episodes later, they finally introduce hockey. Like, things are seen at the beginning of the series, and we don't understand the full scope of it until much later. My unpopular is I don't mind Robin's anime reaction face. It shows how much she's grown since way back then. Oh, yes, I have to agree. After being with the Straw Hat crew for so long, she has learned to really loosen up. Really loosen up. And now she's Thriller Bark Knight all the time. You know what? You're right. At least during the entire going through the whole arc of Thriller Bark. Which makes me think that all the events that happened on Thriller Bark occurred under one night. Or they were in an environment that was just dark all the time. But back to Robin, she really has changed a lot from being a cold, heartless killer to being a cold, heartless killer with more emotions. Well, she's not really heartless. She's just a cold kill. She can be a cold killer, but I want to say she's mellowed out a lot after being with the Straw Hat crew for so long. Now she's doing face faults, she's being surprised at things, she's even having cutesy faces, like having faces when she looks at the images that Kanjuro made of the big dragon that was going into Zou. She had like a cutesy face, and she was even sad when the drawing turned back into a drawing and faded, and even left flowers for it in remembrance of it. So being with the Straw Hat crew has really changed her outlook on life. Has really changed her outlook on life, actually, because from that one I want to live moment, from that point on, she really has changed, especially in the time skip. So she has a much more diverse array of emotions than she did before. Robin still sorely underused. I mean, she was Crocodile's number 2, and she's only gotten stronger and still has never been given an actual fight between a one-on-one person. This is something that has been brought up before. Robin is a very capable fighter. I mean, what can you do against a user who is able to sprout body parts over you and can literally break any part of you anytime she wants to, and you can't resist that whatsoever? Can you imagine Robin with her Hana Hana no Mi and the ability to use armament haki? That's a dangerous ability, because then that would make Logia's kind of less threatening against her if she was capable of using armament haki. Now, I feel the reason why she doesn't have it is because it would kind of make her fruit overpowered. Because then she'd be able to, beat up on people. Blackbeard's... Okay, I'll read it. Blackbeard's body holds the multiple will powers of his ancestors in the ancient kingdom, specifically ancestors who participated in the Great War that initiated the events leading to the Void Century. But can you imagine if Robin could use armament hockey? I feel like the reason why I am not fully going into detail before anyone says anything, the reason why I'm fully not going into detail about that theory of yours is, like, where did that even come from? What evidence does that point to? I understand having theories, and then I have theories that are just taking ideas that sound nice and making it into one sentence. Like, you understand what I mean here? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but in order for me to kind of see where you're going with these theories, there has to be some credibility to them. You can't just say, like, Blackbeard's body holds the multiple willpowers of his ancestors, and I mean, what? Where does that come from? I mean, where can I find something like that, or something that may allude to that in a chapter? If you want me to be completely honest with you. I mean, it looks nice. It's interesting. But I can't give my thoughts on it because to me, it doesn't really make that much sense. Are the only supernovas not at Wano Beige because he's on his adventure still and pretty much celebrating the wedding with Gotti and Lola? So Beige isn't there, Jewelry Bonnie isn't there, and Urouge isn't there. They are the only ones who are not there. Because Hawkins is on Wano. Drake is on Wano, Luffy's on Wano, Killer's on Wano, Kid is on Wano.
There is a message for you.
Drake is on Wano, Luffy's on Wano, Zoro's on Wano, Hawkins, Law, Scratchman. The only people missing is Jewelry Bonnie, Mad Monk Rouge, Blackbeard, Beige. I'm missing a supernova. Who am I missing? Luffy, Zoro, Drake, Hawkins, Law, Killer, Kid, Bonnie, Urouge, Beige, Blackbeard. No, I got them all. That's 11. So what are your thoughts? Oda saying doesn't care about Luffy's mother. I wouldn't say that. It's just that maybe she just doesn't have a significance in this, in the story just yet. That's how I feel. I mean, I feel, because you can't just add Luffy's mother in there just for the sake of Luffy's mom being added in. There has to be a reason why she's being acknowledged after 993 chapters. That's just my thought. But Kid, Killer, like you're saying, Grant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 supernovas are on Wano. The other 3 are elsewhere. So they're the only ones who are not there right now. So pretty much the majority of the supernovas are all in one place. While Jewelry Bonnie's in Marijois, Blackbeard is, living it up big, having a party, and Urouge is wherever he is. I wonder if he's still on the Sky Islands, because that's the last time we saw him, but that was back when Kaido kind of did a face plant on Kid, Killers, and Hawkins and Scratchman's alliance that they were trying to form. So who knows where they are now. But I feel like Luffy's mother won't pop into the story unless she actually does something for the story and has some actual significance. How many arcs do you think will be left of One Piece? Blackbeard heading off somewhere. Yes, he's heading off somewhere. How many arcs do I think will be left? Okay, so we're in the Yonko saga right now. But for arcs, we're in the Wano arc. We have to have an arc when we return to the Reverie. We have to have an arc that concerns the history of the Rocks Pirates. We have to. We have to have an arc that includes the history of the God Valley incident. More info about that. We have to have an arc that concerns the Void Century. We have to have an arc that concerns that concerns the history of how the world government was formed. We have to have an arc about more about the celestial dragons and Im-sama. We have to have an arc that concerns the Luffy and his crew getting to Laugh Tale. We have to have an arc where he confronts Blackbeard. We have to have an arc where the big war pops off for the throne of that concerns the throne of the Pirate King. And then we have to have an arc that concerns, what about Elbaf? Ooh, that's another one. That'd be interesting. If maybe we can have an arc that concerns Elbaf as well. So we still have that. And then we have to finally have an arc where it's like the epilogue after everything's all said and done. But how many did I just list off there? How many I just list off? I feel like in that ballpark, that's how many arcs we need to have. We will have an arc with the Grand Fleet, because I don't think that will be in Wano. No, the Grand Fleet has to make a return at some point. They have to make a return at some point, because we only seen them all together once is when they were formed, but we haven't seen them all come back a little bit. We have to see them all come back in one big massive battle where the Grand Fleet of the Straw Hat Pirates goes up against either Blackbeard and whoever, or the world government. A dragon arc versus Insama. Ooh, like that. I feel like that should count towards the arc that includes Im-sama and his history and dragons. Ooh, an arc that includes dragons' history and why he wants to dismantle the world government. We have to get an arc that actually acknowledges this. When I say arcs, I'm not saying specifically just arcs based on these things, but these next few arcs have to acknowledge all that I have just said. They have to. You can't just leave that open-ended. You've literally acknowledged that there's a ruler over the entire world that's above the 5 elders. You have to explain that to us. You have to explain how that happened, who this person is, and what they are, why their eyes are like that, why they want Vivi, and why they want to take out Shirahoshi and Blackbeard and Luffy. You have to explain that. There's so many things that are left to be explained. Also, Vegapunk, his reveal. We need to see Vegapunk because Oda himself has said that the mechanics of how devil fruits themselves work, how they give people powers, how they rearrange a person's DNA and physiology, and do what they do will be explained by a certain scientist. That certain scientist has to be Vegapunk, because the man was able to replicate Kizaru's powers into pacifistas. This man is intelligent enough to replicate devil fruit powers into other things. So we have to have an arc that includes the reveal of Vegapunk and why this man is literally on the Marine payroll, and how he created the pacifistas, whatever the SSG is, and how he's literally the smartest man in the world. We have to see Vegapunk. Above all else, we have to see him, because if we get Vegapunk, that man is going to be giving us some exposition. This man knows how devil fruits work. He knows how they work. He knows how to replicate them. And replicate them without the need of a devil fruit and put it into different bodies. You don't think Vegapunk might come to Wano? No, because that's what Orochi wanted near the beginning. In exchange for all the weapons and stuff that he was given to the Marines and for the world government, he wanted Vegapunk. They're not sending Vegapunk to Wano. For what reason? It's too risky. It's literally, Vegapunk is the world government's ace in the hole in keeping themselves technologically advanced against pirates. Not just devil fruits might be a secret revolutionary. Also, he's also the one that turned Bartholomew Kuma into a pacifista, wiped his memory, and pretty much just turned him into a living weapon. So I feel that Vegapunk, they're not going to give Vegapunk, they're not going to send Vegapunk anywhere. If they send Vegapunk anywhere, they're going to make sure he has the maximum escort, even possibly higher than that of a celestial dragon, because of his significance to the Marines. Without Vegapunk, they wouldn't have pacifistas. They wouldn't have the lining on their ships that make it so that they can sail through different comm belts and avoid Sea Kings. They wouldn't have all these different technological advances if it wasn't for Vegapunk. So I feel like a Vegapunk reveal may be coming up very, very soon. Thoughts on Yasopp having a sniper showdown with his father? That's going to have to happen because, well, actually, an interaction with Yasopp and Usopp has to happen because Yasopp left when Usopp was a kid, and they haven't really seen each other. So it would be I feel like a conversation between Yasopp and Usopp will happen before there's... I don't even think that there's actually going to be a showdown between Usopp and Yasopp. I feel like it's just going to be a conversation. It just doesn't seem like Usopp needs to prove himself to his father for anything. So a sniper showdown would be kind of pointless between them. So I feel like it'll just probably be a conversation. That's how I feel on that. And who knows? Maybe Vegapunk can reveal maybe Vegapunk will reveal how he's going to cure the children that were on Punk Hazard, which I'm actually watching through right now. Cure the children of their addiction to that drug that Caesar had them on, and maybe cure them of their gigantism to turn them back into normal sizes, because those are forced gigantism on them. No, Yasopp will want to see his son's skills. We don't know that, so I still say a conversation. I think friendly fights Shanks, though. Friendly fights, maybe. Do you think Magellan will come back into the story? I know we saw him protecting Dofi, but I want to see him more. It'd be interesting if he actually evolved his powers over the time skip. Sure, he got beat pretty bad due to the massive breakout of Impel Down, but I highly doubt that his skills have decreased any. It'd be interesting to see if he has any significance in the story at some point. But who knows? We'll just have to see. We still need Crocodile back and know what Eva knows about him. Oh, we have to find out that secret that Ivankov has on Crocodile to make Crocodile even temporarily side with them during the breakout of Impel Down. How do you counter the Smile Devil Fruit without Vegapunk? You don't. It takes the smartest man in the world to not only know how Devil Fruits work, but also find out a way on how to counteract Smiles. So who knows? But we still need... Here's the thing. We are talking about so many things about selective characters, but we still got an entire world's worth of things to tie up. Where's Eneru? He's on the moon. Is he coming back? We don't know. How is your boy surviving in space wearing nothing but pants? Please give me your thoughts on my last two. Luffy and Shanks will fight, but it's going to be a battle of hockey mastery, but Zoro will have a skirmish with Shanks before Luffy. After all, how can Zoro expect to best Mihawk if he can't stand against the man who is known across the seas as Mihawk's one and only rival? Like I say with all of your theories, we just have to wait and see. We can put into our heads that, oh, this fight will go this way, but we just don't know. I mean, Luffy is strong right now, but if he can't contend with Kaido, he can't contend with Shanks. So at some point, he's going to have to get even stronger than where he is with Kaido right now. So that's just my opinion on it. So you have Citizen's Permit, Smile Face, for rest of lives, that's Cruel Fate Man. Shanks is a swordsman after all. That's true, but that doesn't mean Zoro has to fight him. There's literally no reason for Zoro to have to fight Shanks in order to take on Mihawk. There's literally no reason. Because Mihawk is the only person he has to face down. So there really is no reason to... There's really no reason for Zoro to fight Shanks at all. Shanks is Luffy's target. There's no reason for the first mate to fight him. We still need to know what happened at the Reverie with Vivi. Yep, that's what I was saying with M-sama, why he's targeting Vivi, what happened to King Cobra. What went down? Is this stream going to have spoilers for the next chapter? No, because I'm going to be reading that tomorrow. The next chapter for 994. Because we only got 2 chapters released in the month of October. So 994 does not count. That counts as the November chapter, which I'll be reading tomorrow. So you don't need to worry about any spoilers about chapter 994 here. I'm sure a lot of people read it already, but I have not. Haven't even seen scans. Don't want to see it. We have Fishman Island destruction and the giant ship and Joy Boy, who he is, still so many things. So many things, like we could literally talk for the next several hours. Literally talk about the next several hours. Literally talk about the next several hours about things that need to be tied up in One Piece. But that's all in due time. I mean, we can talk about how much we want to see these things all at one time, but Oda himself said that there's still a lot to cover. There is still years of One Piece information to come. Years! Do you know how much information we get? Do you know how much information we get within a single... Wow, it's actually starting... Even though the sun is moving off to the side, it's making my whole room look a little bit dark. Sorry about that. But, even though we managed to get so much information of One Piece per year, there is still so many years worth of One Piece information to carry on with. Smile Devil Fruit creates permanent smiles on faces. Wano citizens, that cruel, unfortunate man. Yeah, it is. It is sad that that the side effects of the smile causes that to people who eat it. So I wouldn't be surprised if either Vegapunk discovers a cure or Chopper discovers. I'm in Punk Hazard right now. I was just wondering if this had spoilers. If you are... Oh, wait, I forgot. You said you were going through One Piece. There are spoilers near the beginning when I was reading through much later chapters later through, so I'm not going to say anything else concerning anything about One Piece. You know what? I might as well go ahead and end it right here. This is actually a good point to stop it at, because I don't want to keep droning on for far too long and keep you guys for far too long. So 6, don't worry, I'm not going to say anything else One Piece related, because I don't want to run into any spoilers or anything else for you. Just know that the chapters that we got in October for One Piece were great. I was arguing with someone the other day about who is stronger, Jinbei or Sanji. I say Jinbei. I say Jinbei as well. Sanji may be strong, but he's not Fishman strong. I mean, Jinbei, sure, Sanji, we almost made it to 2 hours. Almost. You know what? Let's make it 2 hours. Let's talk about Jinbei for a minute. So, 6, since you've already made it to Punk Hazard, you've already made it past Fishman Island. And we've already seen the capabilities of Jinbei. And we've seen him go up. We've seen his level of strength. We know that even Hody Jones using the energy steroids as much as he did, it's still in relative skill level to Jinbei's capabilities. Jinbei clearly outclasses Hody Jones. And the fact that a lot of his attacks, like Gyojin Karate Ogi, Braiken, which is able to lift someone as large as Waratsume with just one attack so effortlessly. Plus, the skill of Jinbei is unlike anything we've seen anyone use in anyone who's a fishman. And Jinbei just clearly shows his strength over and over and over and over and over again. Like, he literally... I can't say this. I actually can't say this. This is actually a spoiler. Sorry, I had to hold my tongue there for a moment. But Jinbei's strength as a fishman is by far the strongest we have seen in the series. And the thing is, he's ridiculously strong, able to literally throw Big Mom over it. Gotta stop right there. I actually can't talk about too many of Jinbei's later skills because of where you are right now, Six. I actually can't say anything about that anymore. Don't worry, I just now came back to my phone. Yay, 2-hour stream. Sorry for caps. It's fine, Grant. You don't worry about it. I actually can't say any more about Jinbei because you actually haven't reached that point yet. But Jinbei is crazy strong, and I actually doubt we'll run into another fishman who has Jinbei's level of strength. But overall, if it comes to Sanji versus Jinbei all the way. Because he's just that strong. Do you think Jinbei is making another notch tree? I can come to another stream and you can talk about it. Well, I actually kind of don't want to say it anymore because I just kind of want you to go ahead and enjoy it for yourself. So that way, the next time I have a stream up and you've caught up, and you can join in the reverie that we're doing here. Not my own little personal reverie with you guys. Also, for those of you who have wondered if I should be in the next reverie with Roger and the rest of the reverie crew, I do know that the day after he had the last reverie, he said he was actually thinking about downsizing the reverie. So, and actually downsizing the amount of people who was there. So I don't know if he's going to be inviting any people new. So I wouldn't put the expectations of me being able to join the next referee on the table, to be quite honest with you, for those of you who wondered about that. But overall, I have to say that the stream was enjoyable. Talking about One Piece with you guys and all the stuff that we know and hope to find out, and the dozens upon dozens of theories that are out there. Interesting reads, nonetheless. But overall, this was a fun stream for me to give to you guys. But this is where I'm going to draw it here for a close today. I saw you commenting on the Reverie stream. It would be awesome if you were there. Maybe. Do I think Jinbei is making his way to the Monster Trio? I don't know if it's been classified as such, or do you think there is a new Monster Trio? I mean, if we want to be completely honest, the strongest people now in the Straw Hat crew is Luffy, Zoro, and Jinbei now. But I wouldn't call them part of the new Monster Trio, though. That remains to be seen. Pardon me. Excuse me. Ooh. What did I eat? Ugh. I didn't even eat anything. Why does that smell so bad? I brushed my teeth. But anyway, I digress. Sorry for taking up too much of your guys' time. Hope you guys enjoyed this little One Piece Reflections. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow when we read the newest chapter of One Piece, and we're also getting a new chapter of My Hero Academia as well. Looking forward to those. Thank you everyone for coming out to see me today. You guys didn't have to, but you did, and I love all the support that you guys give me here on this. Bro, hold on. Let me handle this real quick. Bro, you're gonna ignore all my comments. We're supposed to be having a discussion. Not really. I was talking to you guys. I can choose which comments to comment on. J.D. Rich. Can I be honest with you real quick? I got nothing but genuine respect for you as a viewer who comes here all the time. But I do not have to acknowledge every single thing that you put up in chat. If I read over you and I don't come back to it, there is a reason for it. I really hope that you understand this, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to be as nice as I can with saying this, but I do not have to acknowledge every single thing that you say. Okay? Take that as you will. If that sounds mean, I apologize for it being so blunt. But that's just the way it is. I hope you understand. If it's a good theory, then I will say so. But if I'm trying to move on and go to something else, I will. Let us leave it at that. thank you all for coming out to see my reflections here today. Hope y'all enjoyed. I respect that you got a lot of great insight. That's the only reason why I asked the questions. Well, I understand that, but at the same time, there's some theories. Can I just have a moment here? Let me just go one more minute here. And I'm not going off. I'm not going off on you, JD Rich. I hope this is not misconstrued or anything like this. But I just go when I see a theory. There needs to be concrete evidence in I have nothing against theories that, you know, go way out in the left field. But I can't comment on them too much because I only go off of information that we've seen in the series thus far, and sometimes from the SBS itself. So you may say that I'm knowledgeable have a lot of insight, but I can only go off of what I know, and I can only piece together theories that go along with what I know. If it's a theory that's just like, I don't know, Blackbeard has the will of his ancestors in his bodies, I can't say anything about that because there's no evidence that points to it or anything that alludes to it. That's just how I am when it comes to theories as such. I hope that doesn't sound too blunt, but that's how I operate, and I hope you understand. But yeah, I kind of went on a little bit longer than I expected. But with that being said, hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you happen to be a new person on this channel for the very first time and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then maybe consider subscribing because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, I meant absolutely no offense nor disrespect, and I had not taken it as such. You're fine. Don't worry about it. It takes a lot to get me riled up and mad and upset over something as trivial as people putting theories out there. Okay? You're good. Don't even worry about it. This is not a place of animosity. This is a place of camaraderie, and it will always remain as such. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Have a fantastic day. Wait. I just butchered my own outro. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you happen to be new here and you enjoyed what you saw here, then maybe consider subscribing because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. Have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.